in alphabetical order, and that is a dictionary order A to Z, or may I require it to be from Z to A, descending order, then that kind of things can also be done easily. So to sort a list of data, choose the data that you want to sort. Means in a column, suppose I have given some numbers, then I have to select that particular set of data, and when I select them, it will be highlighted, that row or column. Now click data from the menu bar. We have already seen earlier that where this data menu bar is available, it is on the top of the Excel sheet. So from the data menu, we have to click the data menu, and again from data menu we have to click the sort function from the data menu. This sort box will ask you how you want to sort your information. For example, do you want to sort a column in ascending order or descending order? So as per our requirement, we can sort the data. To sort data, to sort data, first of all we have to enter the data. First make the cell in which you want to enter the data active by clicking it, and then we can arrange it. Similarly, some of the data related to dates also can be arranged in ascending and descending order. Now, as most of the students know how to enter the data in multiple lines and in different parts of the Excel sheet, that we can do it. You can see here entering data in a worksheet. Suppose I have a list of some students, their address, their date of birth, or whatever it is. Sorry, it is data related to some item, price, quantity. So these are the information you want to enter and want to create a database about. So here is a name column. Here you can enter various names, address of that person, some date related structure, may be a customer, and the items that he wants, price, and the quantity that we and the total of price and quantity, that is the total bill we want to show here. So this kind of data base can be created. So these are the titles of the different data values. We generally call them as variable. Under these columns, column title name, we shall write here different names and their corresponding address and so on. So in this active cell, when we click, it will become it will be readily available to enter the data. Now friends, to enter the data is very easy task, but what is important is the calculations or the arithmetic or some mathematical formulas, operations that we want to perform on this data. So to analyze the data, we need some kind of arithmetic operations to be performed on the data. For that, we need to enter different kinds of formula. So what is a formula? A formula is a mathematical expression that calculates a value. In Excel, formulas always begin with an equal sign. So whenever you want to type a formula, as we have seen earlier in C programming or in basic programming or in any other programming language, to evaluate a particular number, we have to write the formula by a variable name, let us call it x, and it is equal to, just like mathematics, x is equal to u plus v by 2. So that type of address or the formula can also be written in the Excel. So every formula begins with an equal to sign. A formula can consist of one or more than one arithmetic operators and some constants also. In order of precedence, the order of precedence is a set of predefined rules that Excel follows to calculate a formula. Friends, we know that Bodmer's rule, that is bracket, off, and division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. So in short we call it as Bodmas rule. So this hierarchy of mathematical operation should be kept in mind when you write a formula in Excel. Always bracket will be performed first, and then only that percentage sign or off, we call it 20% off 500 rupees, like that. So bracket off, then division and multiplication will take place, and the last operation that will be performed by Excel is that of addition and addition and subtraction. Now introducing a function. There are so many readily available library functions in Excel which are widely used by people in general all over the world. So what is a function? A function is a named operation that returns a value. Every function has certain arguments. So we shall study it in detail when we start actual Excel applications. For example, to add the values in the range C1 to C5, suppose in column C and row number 1 to 5 we have some data and some values. You could enter them in the Excel sheet, and you could find a formula. Suppose in C6 we write this formula. In C6 cell, if I write it is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3 plus C4 plus C5, then automatically the data will be added and the answer will be printed in C6 cell. Or you could use the sum function. Sum function is a readily available library function in Excel. So if we write in C6 column is equal to sum, and this is the range of the data, that is from C1 to C5. So here is a column sign which indicates C1 to C5. So sum of all the observations that are given in C1 to C5 will be added and the answer will be displayed in C6. So this is how a function can be inserted. So this is a pure mathematical function. By we can write it by typing in, and this is a library function which is readily available. But here C1 and C5, that is the range of the set of the data, it is called the argument of the function, and it returns, this sum function returns the answer. Say friends, this is the things. Here we have serial numbers in column number B and some kind of data is written here. So this is a cell number C2, this is C3, C4, C5, C6, and I want to add these numbers and I want the answer in the address C7. So here I have to type equal to sum bracket C2 colon sign C6. So when I write this argument, these numbers will be automatically added and the answer will be displayed here. So this is a very simple application which is very popular with the students. Entering functions with AutoSum. The AutoSum button quickly inserts Excel functions that summarize all the values in a column or row using a single statistic, just like sum of the values in the column or row, or average value in the column or row. So sometimes we are interested in sum, sometimes we are interested in average of the given data, something like that. So AutoSum button quickly insert Excel functions. Entering functions with AutoSum. Total count of numeric values in the column means how many values are given, 10 observations or 10 data values or 15. So that can be easily available with count function. So count function calculates the total number of entered data. Sometimes we are interested in identifying the minimum value in the entire column. Means in a column we have been given some data and what is the minimum of that we want to identify. So that can also be easily done by library function mean, and maximum value can also be obtained. Here you can see that this data of production for different year is given, and we want to find the average production during this year, means addition of all these numbers divided by 5. So that will give us the average of this data. So we can have the answer here by clicking equal to average, and in the argument we should write B2 to B6. That is, this data, average of this data will be automatically calculated by Excel, and the answer will be displayed in B8 cell. Similarly, in statistics we calculate variance, which is very important. It is a measure of dispersion. So that can also be easily calculated. The variance of this data can be easily obtained by writing equal to VAR, and in the argument we have to write B2 B6. So the variance of this data x1 x2 xn will be calculated by Excel. So these variance and average, all these are library functions readily available in Excel. Again, we are interested in standard deviation of this data, that is the root of variance, that can also be easily calculated by Excel library help. Library functions are nothing but built-in functions, and they are for quick use, means we need not to remember the entire formula, and we need not to write in detail all mathematical expressions that are required. So built-in functions easily calculates and analyzes the data. To see the functions, these built-in functions, we have to click on this fx symbol. This icon fx is on the Excel screen. So when we click it and we select it, that button, we can have the ready-made available built-in functions, or we can insert these built-in functions by clicking on the insert menu function, and in the insert drop-down menu again we have to select a function key. So in the insert menu we have a function key, and again in function we have some mathematical, statistical and commercial applications related ready-made built-in functions. So we have to choose one of the function as per our requirement. Now friends, you can see that when we click on insert function, here we have different categories of library functions that are available. Here when we click, we have different types of library functions depending upon the statistical application or mathematical application or time related data and something like that. So when we select a statistical category of built-in function, we have most of the statistical formulas and expressions which are widely used in statistics. The list of that will be displayed here in this particular region, and out of that we have to select a proper function as per our requirement. Now you can see when I click average here, the function, built-in function, will ask for the argument. So this is the argument of the function. So here either you can type in the numbers or you can select some particular cell, and then we have to click OK button. So this average function returns the average, that is the arithmetic mean of its argument, which can be numbers or names or arrays or references that contains numbers. So this is how we can insert a built-in library function. Here we have a list of certain statistical functions available. So we have average, then beta distributions probability can also be easily calculated with the help of built-in function, then binomial distribution, chi-square distribution, even one can use chi-square test also. We can find the correlation between two variables, say x and y. If in column A x values are given and in column B we have y values, then in columns in somewhere in some cell we can find the correlation between set of values x and y, by using correlation function. Similarly, we can find covariance between x and y. We can find frequency distributions just like gamma, geometric distribution, and so on. Geometric mean, harmonic mean of the given data can also be easily calculated. One can identify the kurtosis of the frequency distribution with the help of this built-in function. We can find the maximum or minimum or the median or mode. These are some very simple applications related statistics. And for the given set of data, we can calculate this mean, median, mode, and something like that. Similarly, the most important distribution in statistics, that is normal distribution, and the entire normal table can also be easily generated, and various probabilities under normal curve can be calculated using normal distribution library function. Even the rank of the given data can also be done, and so on. So here is a list of all these library functions. Not only that, people are in general interested in the presentation of the numeric data into some graphs and charts. Now in Excel, this is one of the best application how to represent the data graphically or different forms of charts, so that common man can easily understand what the data represent. So graphs and charts in Excel can be drawn very easily. There are several types of graphs, as we know, and the charts which are useful for presenting the statistical data. So to insert graphs or chart, we have to click on the insert menu, and in the insert drop down menu we have an option of charts. So when we click on this chart button, we will have a list of different type of graphs available with us. So you can see, friend, here these are called column graphs, column charts. Then here these are the line graphs. Again, here there are options that this is a 2D graph, this is a 3D graph. Here these are rectangles, here these are some kind of pillars like structure. So these are the ways of representing the data. And these are all line graphs. These are particular type of line graph. Here these dots indicates a particular value of that data related on this graph. Similarly, this is a 2D line graph. This is a 2D line graph. This is called pie chart, which is very popular in arts faculty. So the data can also be easily expressed using these various types of graph. The most important graph so far as mathematics and statistics is concerned is XY scatter graph and area graph. We people are interested in the scatter graph. So in statistics, whenever you plot any graph, one should always use the scatter graph to represent the data. And this column graph and pie graph, these are all for a common man. These are not as precise as the scatter graph. Of course, the calculation is proper, but for to identify a particular value or some kind of data analysis, these column graphs are not as mathematically powerful to understand. When we look at these column graphs as a mathematician or a statistician, we do not get exact idea about it. So better to plot the statistical data by using XY scatter graph, just like time series data and so on. So when we represent a time series, we should always use XY scatter graph. Next is the different types of charts. So what is column chart or bar chart? Let us try to understand what this column chart indicates. So the length of bars shows proportionate or absolute level of a variable in a group or a sample or a population. So all of you are aware of this cricket match, and that the data that we see on our screen on TV, that various in different overs how many runs are scored, or over wise 50 overs one day match, and we can see that in which over how many runs are scored. So that is for a common man very easy to understand, and that column chart is drawn in cricket match to understand the people how the run rate goes and how the runs are scored. So this is one of the application of column chart. Let us have an idea about some data is given here, years and tables. This is the data related to different years 1990 to 1998, and we want to make comparisons of the value across the different categories. So how the graph, that column graph of this can be drawn. So the production of this data, the production in different years can be represented, as you can see on your screen, that these column charts, columns are prepared, and the structure of the graph indicates that in 1991 to 1992 the production is highest, whereas in 1994 to 95 the production is below 100. So this is how one can easily understand and compare the data in a graphical notations. Similarly, pie chart is generally used to to show the proportion of the distribution of a particular cell value across the category. Means suppose we have different data available, and the total of this is to be calculated, and a particular size of slice in a pie chart shows the proportion distribution across the categories. Very simple application. Let us have this particular data, that in the year 2009, suppose I have a data related to blood groups. So O category blood group, A category blood group, B category, and